Yo, students, what's good? Welcome to the classroom. Y'all like that shit? Y'all like that shit? Now, this is a weird ass camera angle, my fault. It's just because I just got off work and I'm not really trying to expose my background. Hold on, let me see if I can fix my camera. That look a little better. This camera angle is still crazy. I'm sorry, but y'all like that? Y'all like that? Welcome to the classroom. Damn, my teeth, boy. God, my teeth look crazy because this lighting. Anyways, there's going to be 2 videos, so if it looks like I got the same shirt on, it's because it's the same day when I'm making them. And don't say anything about my last video well, you had 2 with the same red shirt. We're not going to talk about that. But anyways, again, if it looks like I'm not looking at y'all, I'm looking at myself on the camera, making sure everything's good. But I'm gonna try my best to look at y'all. I've been reviewing some of my videos and stuff like that, and I can't and I look goofy, right? Just not looking at y'all. Now, today's video is to mainly specifically talk about communities in general as a whole, as a collective, but specifically the manga community. And the reason why I say this is because I stumbled across a video. I can't remember the name. I'm going to put the YouTuber somewhere name up here in the title of it. But I stumbled across the video last night. Finished up reading volume 2. The video that's going to be out before this is going to be my kind of review of volume 2. Me just yapping about my likes about volume 2 of Soul Eater. But finished up volume 2 of Soul Eater, and then I went to go watch some YouTube, and it was a video. I don't remember the title, and I don't want to do it justice or injustice. I mean by not saying the correct title, because it was a pretty good and actually, my fault, informative video. But it made me realize something. So the video basically was talking about how manga isn't dead, obviously, but manga is not boring. Because a lot of people don't read a lot of new manga. The video was talking about how, we used to have the big 3 where it was One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto. If you want to dabble DBZ in there, then you can, to each his own, whatever your opinion is. But that's the original big 3 is what people called it. So a lot of the video was talking about, and after the big 3, if those wasn't really making new episodes or coming out with new volumes, then you had stuff like Black Clover, you had stuff like I can't remember the other ones he said, but you had other anime, My Hero Academia, stuff like that in between that could keep you occupied. But now it seems like, at least for manga, that it's kind of stagnant, right? But no. Now, this is really kind of to add just my opinion on that opinion. The issue with people thinking manga is stagnant has a lot to do with, like I said, this isn't just a anime and manga thing, but since this channel is mainly focused around that, it's more directed towards it. But this is also a community thing in general. Same thing with gaming community, any community there is. People do not like expansion. Communities do not like expansion. And that be the issue. Communities not liking expansion. You have shit out like Kagurabachi, and y'all, I don't know if y'all remember, but when Kagurabachi first got talked about, you had the glazers, the day one glazers, like the niggas who was glazing leaks. But then you also had the haters who were just like, oh, this is slop. It's trying to copy this anime or this manga, and it's like, bro, these newer mangakas who's coming in, or these people who are just now getting these mangas published, of course they're inspired by maybe the big 3 or something. Bro, I'm not going to say that yet. I'm not going to say that. Later down the road, we'll talk about it. But all works of art are inspired by some other form of work of art. The issue is when you start comparing a work of art to a previous work of art and then not calling it original because you see the inspiration but you do not see the actual story. Now, you may be like, what does that mean? What I mean is, let's say there was a manga that came out today that reminded a lot of people of Black Clover, right? the main character was obnoxious. There was a second protagonist who was like more chill, nonchalant, kind of like whatever, like Ashta's brother, everything like that. And let's say those were the main characteristics, right? Then you throw in magic, which magic can be in anything, right? Someone would automatically call it, just because of those similar characteristics, this is a Black Clover clone, or this is a Black Clover ripoff. I remember when King and Ashura, shout out, like, that was a great. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, an anime y'all should definitely watch, just for like heat. I'm talking about fighting is fire, everything, like just fire, just heat. King and Ashura. But I remember when King and Ashura dropped, and everybody was like, "Bro, this shit is a 3D Baki ripoff," and it was kind of just like, bro, or King and Omega if you read the manga, right? But I remember when King and Ashura dropped, and people were just calling it a Baki ripoff, and I was just like, what the fuck? I'm like, do y'all, like, this is nothing like Baki, and the only thing remotely close to it are the only things, in my opinion, that's remotely close to it: the amount of fighting and the crazy ass yoked up buff characters with crazy personalities, the very sadistic masochist type characters. But other than that, King and Ashura, for what it's worth, its story alone is completely different. And that's, like I said, again, I feel like the issue with the manga community is people don't give a chance to read new manga. If it's something new and it reminds you remotely of something else in the past, then it's like people automatically throw it away, claim it as a clone or a ripoff, or just slop in general, and then never pick it up again. And then they get mad when it has a buzz because the fandom is growing. And it's like, just because you put it down because you could not see the difference between this story and the thing you compared it to, does not mean that everyone else should agree with you. And that does not mean that as a community, everyone should put this down. Actually, we should be encouraging people to go out and read new mangas. Go out and read stuff that from a mangaka that you've never heard or seen before. I just recently picked up this manga called After God, and then there's another manga that I'm going to put somewhere around here. I don't really remember the names, but I'm going to fact check myself in this video if I'm wrong. But I think those mangas either got published in this year in 2025. So actually, I'm fact checking myself. News Exorcist was published in 2023. I still would count that as relatively new, and plus I haven't really heard anybody talk about it. And After God was published in 2021. I would still count that relatively new, but it is still on the side of like probably niche. But my statement still stands. We should give mangakas a chance, regardless if we know them or not, or if their thing has boomed or not. If you see a recommended manga or anything, definitely go out there and give it a chance. And also, if you're wondering why I have a freeze frame or a picture over my face in this freeze frame, is because I was making a crazy face. It was a crazy pause. So I was just like, oh yeah, nah. Or I think they just got published this year, if I'm not mistaken. If it wasn't published and released, then I'm, talking on my ass. But I'm pretty sure it was published. And I haven't read them yet, but from the little bit that I've seen and, the little synopsis and stuff, I feel like I'm going to enjoy it. And then, plus, one of the new manga that I picked up, what made me pick it up was when I opened it up, the first page, it was the mangaka, like, thanking us, the reader, for picking up their manga and giving it a chance. And that right there made me be like, you know what? I'm finna go out and support this mangaka. I'm finna go out and support them, because who knows? They might turn into the next biggest mangaka. They might turn into the next one. They might turn into the next Oda. They might turn into the next... They might turn into the next... whoever, in your opinion, is the greatest mangaka there is, that lived, or just now in general. You don't know until you give them a chance. But if you do not give them a chance, how can they flourish? If y'all don't know, but I feel like people who are deep into manga, or at least deep into Japanese culture in terms because of manga or anime, understand that the manga or the work field in Japan is gruesome, but the manga and animation side of Japan, when it comes out of business, that's very grueling, very, very cruel, very gruesome, tiring hours. I know you've heard the amount of stories of mangakas developing body problems because of how long they're just sitting there drawing, writing for hours and hours and hours on end. I know y'all have heard it. Some of your favorite mangakas probably had to take a break from their manga. The Hunter x Hunter, didn't he have to take a break? The mangaka from Hunter x Hunter, and I'm gonna put their names right here because I don't like just not addressing them. It's just like I said, I'm getting into manga seriously for like the first time I'm getting into it seriously to where like I can consider myself a very big enjoyer of manga. Okay, so but yeah, I feel as if this isn't going to be a long video, but I feel as if the issue with every community, but especially the manga community, especially with people thinking that manga is stagnant, is that people do not give new things a try. You compare. Comparison is the fuck, I can't remember the saying, but comparison takes away joy. Comparison destroys joy. I know it's hard, and trust me, I know it's hard because it was hard for me. But try to go into a manga with a new and fresh mindset. Do not read these mangas that are inspired by something and then instantly compare it to that. Like I remember I love Black Clover. I remember when Black Clover was in, for whatever reason, I mean mainly because of Ashta, but it was getting compared to Naruto, and then I watched Black Clover and I'm just like, what? Or no. Well, Naruto and DBZ. I remember when people were like, "Oh, Ashta being a big old dumbass like Goku," like they're just, and I was kind of just like, "What?" I'm like, y'all do realize there's been like very dull anime characters before Goku, right? Yes, Goku was popularized the dull characteristic of a MC in anime, but like there has been dull characters before. There has been dull characters during the time DBZ was popping. Goku is not the only dull character, the only obnoxious character, right? But when I see all those comparisons, I was like, that's crazy. But go into it with a fresh brain. Go into it with open, and I'll dare even say, if you're comparing it so much to this manga or this anime that you're watching or reading, chill out on watching or reading that anime for a little bit to really just dive into this manga that you're trying to get into, or this anime that you're trying to get into. Okay, but yeah, no, manga by no means is boring and dying. Manga is just people, the community just is not opening their brain. That's literally it. You're just not opening your brain. It's the same thing with, because I feel like I got to do my homework. I'll be going back and watching older animes. Don't get me wrong, sometimes it be hard as fuck to sit through them episodes. But I've been going back and watching the Gundam series because I'm trying to figure out why people love Gundam so much. You know, I played some of the Gundam games, but I never really watched the series. Now I'm going back and watching it from the original old ass anime to the most recent. Same thing with Fate. I'm trying to get into these series, or even if not getting into these series for my own, you know, future endeavors. Let's say it like that. For my own future endeavors. Help get inspiration or help with writing or anything like that. So, yeah. Go into reading manga with an open mind. Newer manga. Give these newer mangakas a chance. Stop comparing one anime to another anime, one manga to another manga. Enjoy it. Because the issue is, we are going to be the reason why mangakas do not flourish if we just keep comparing it and putting it down, right? And obviously, yes, I do understand, like, it's also like business and political reasons also for why, but at least on the supporter side, stop. Support these new mangakas. Show them love. I love y'all. Peace out. I hope y'all have a good day or night whenever you're watching this. And like, comment, share, subscribe is always optional, never forced. Love y'all. Peace.